Today on Studio G Magazine, reporter Carl Winder goes in-depth about the UNLV Transit Center and its effect it will have on student parking. In March's Health Awareness Month, reporter Heather Feyerberger and Maria Landeros will be teaching you how to eat healthy and stay fit. And if you're a sucker for four-legged friends like me, then you won't want to miss reporter Austin Ennie's trip to a local PetSmart. All this and more coming up on Studio G Magazine.
Bringing you the news at noon.
Live over the web.
Informative.
Investigative.
And student run.
This is Studio G Magazine on UNLV-TV.
And your show comes in 3, 2, 1. And we're live to the web.
Hello, Las Vegas, and welcome to another edition of Studio G Magazine. I'm Jamie Seymour, and I will be bringing you a recap of popular stories from this week. Campus shootings have happened in Texas, Virginia, and recently Connecticut. Even though UNLV has not experienced a campus shooting, UNLV police still have a plan in place if a gunman were to come on campus. UNLV police hosted their Rebel Roundtable. The theme was When a Gunman Rampages. According to UNLV police, the odds that a campus may experience a campus shooting is like being struck by lightning, and UNLV law enforcement wanted to make sure students have a plan just in case this circumstance happens.
Well, the goal of today's training session was to reach out to the community to let them know some things that they should be considering if they should find themselves in an active shooter situation.
Also at the roundtable were officers from Metro Police. According to the Metro, if a shooting ever does happen at UNLV, they, along with the whole police community from Henderson to North Las Vegas, would converge to the campus.
We're here to support their police department and give them a force multiplier so we will be able to assist in clearing the rest of the campus, clearing buildings, making sure that the tactics and training are the exact same. That's what the UNLV police do.
For more information to see what the proper plans are if a shooter enters the campus, go to police.unlv.edu. As I mentioned earlier, March is Health Awareness Month, and with the weather warming up, students are looking to get more in shape and eat healthier. Reporter Heather Feyerberger talks with UNLV's Debbie the dietitian for tips on healthy campus eating options.
Most college students just grab the first snack they see, but with summer right around the corner, most are trying to eat healthier. Both professionals and students agree that eating healthy is a choice.
What it boils down to is just the students and their personal choices.
Healthy eating is a choice, and I think oftentimes we get stuck into a rut. We choose the same foods.
Some students may think eating healthy on campus isn't possible, but they do have options.
What I have here in front of me, these are items that are located in the pod, and they're on-the-go foods. At the dining commons, we have what's called the to-go box. Great for those individuals that want more fruits and vegetables in their diet, maybe that like to snack on those. If you're making some lifestyle choices to decrease snacking on potato chips, for example, is to have those foods available.
There's about 2 or 3 options, I'd say, with the pod and the student union, as well as all the fruits and the fresh vegetables you can get from the pod. There is a number of amounts of healthy eating options. And as I mentioned before, it all comes down to just the students and they're making good and better choices.
For Studio G, I'm Heather Feyerberger.
Healthy eating events are being held on campus throughout the month, including Dining with the Dietitian in the Dining Commons on March 13th. Eating healthy goes hand in hand with fitness, and what can be better than getting in shape while also giving back to the community at the same time? Reporter Maria Landeros has more.
Alabama Sports Hall of Fame runner Stephen Bolt created the Bolt Series. It is a running event organization sweeping the nation. It promotes a healthy lifestyle and at the same time raises money for many charities. Jerry Tarkanian, or Tark the Shark, is no stranger to UNLV. The former basketball coach also teamed up with the Bolt Series and helped bring this event to Las Vegas. Families and friends participated in the Tarkanian Shark Attack 5K right here on campus.
No one starts out one day and starts running 5Ks or marathons. It takes time. I would just recommend everyone get off the couch and really just get out there and take control of your health.
I've been running for about 6 years. Hopefully everybody can find some way to stay active and keep healthy with whatever you enjoy. 5Ks or road races are a great way to do it, but if you don't like that, well, there's a million other things that people can do.
Not only does the Bolt Series encourage fitness, but it also raises money for charities. This time, the event helped out Team Focus.
Team Focus is a mentoring program for boys ages 10 through 18 who don't have a father figure. We just fill the gap of the missing father in their lives, and we mentor them, teach them leadership skills to be leaders instead of followers. Jerry Tarkanian said he'll put his name behind this, and we've had a lot of fun with it.
Whether it's getting in shape or giving back to your community or just coming out to have a good time, the Bolt Series certainly does a lot more than promote a healthy lifestyle. For Studio G, I'm Maria Landeros.
The next Bolt Series 5K is on May 11th right here on campus. For more information, visit theboltseries.com. Planning on doing some traveling? Well, the Transportation Security Administration has implemented new regulations when flying. For the first time since 9/11, you will now be able to board an airplane with a pocket knife. The TSA will now allow small knives less than 2.36 inches long and a half an inch wide to be carried on board. The new change in security measures have caused quite an uproar amongst travelers and flight attendants.
I would prefer that they stay off airplanes.
If some type of argument could escalate, guess what? Someone pulls out a knife, then I'm here. I have to defend myself and make sure all the other passengers are safe.
Items which are now being allowed include hockey sticks, pool cues, and golf clubs. The TSA says that this is part of an overall risk-based security approach, which allows transportation security officers to better focus their efforts on finding higher threat items such as explosives. Shoes will still have to be removed and screened, box cutters are not allowed, and liquids exceeding 3.4 ounces are still not permitted.
I'd actually prefer if they would change the rules on the liquids, because I've lost too many things. In fact, on the way here, they had a little jar of peanut butter, and I had no idea that counted as a liquid in a gel. So I'd actually rather see them change the rules on that than even the small knives and the golf clubs.
The new changes will go into effect on April 25th, 2013. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will take a look at some major changes taking place right here on the campus of UNLV.
I'd like to thank the members of the UNLV community that have started something.
I became a big sister to make an impact in a child's life.
I became a big brother to get involved in my community.
4 hours a month, you can make a big difference in the life of a child.
I became a big sister because I wanted to start something.
Contact Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southern Nevada and start something today.
A new transit center is being built in replace of a student and staff parking lot on campus. Reporter Carl Winder went out to see the reactions.
My thought is this is ridiculous. We pay really expensive for the parking already.
What I like to call a complete row of seeing all these empty staff parking spaces.
I'd say go myself because I pay $130 a semester in parking permits.
UNLV students are furious about the construction of the new UNLV Transit Center as building begins on March 11th. The multimodal center will be built on the U-Lot located behind Greenspun Hall. And for students, since the U-Lot will not have student parking, finding a spot in the H&F lot has become harder.
I don't pay to walk 2 miles to my class in the Greenspun building.
It's really hard to find parking in the mornings. Anytime after 12 o'clock, it's impossible to find parkings unless you go to Thomas and Mack. And even then it gets hard in Thomas and Mack.
UNLV leased property to the Regional Transportation Commission and was approved by the Board of Regents in 2011. The $3.5 million transit center didn't cost UNLV anything, and the project is fully funded by the Department of Transportation and the RTC, and is all part of UNLV's master plan. But one concern came from Regent Michael Wixom regarding the student parking. Over 90 spots would be taken away. Senior Vice President for Finance and Business, Jerry Bomani, said that 75 spots were added at an alternate site to help accommodate the loss.
What we did to accommodate that, I don't know if you have been here long enough to know the north and south trailer parks that were there. There used to be a bunch of trailers over in that area.
Bamani said this is the area where the 75 spots of alternative parking is located, and right behind me is where the transit center is going to be in the U-lot. But according to the UNLV master plan, student parking is going vertical.
We also have been looking at right across Maryland Parkway for a parking garage. We haven't been able to find any partners or any land that is big enough that we could purchase over there, but we think that's a great opportunity where, you know, you're very close to the core of campus.
After seeing the reactions, Carl went out again to investigate what the future holds for the new multimodal center.
UNLV and the Regional Transportation Commission are set for construction on the UNLV Transit Center on March 11th. According to RTC General Manager Tina Quigley, the neighborhoods around UNLV are in full support.
We've actually been very lucky in that the community has embraced the project. Students, employees, visitors, anybody who chooses to take an alternative mode of transportation will enjoy this facility.
Parking and Transportation Director Tad McDowell said UNLV has over 12,000 parking spots, which is enough to accommodate everybody with a parking pass. He went on to say,
everything that we do in relation to these projects, we do it with as much fairness such as possible for our students and our staff and faculty as well, but those are student spaces primarily that have been impacted over there. We just want to be as fair as possible.
For students who park in the U, H, and F lot, they believe the UNLV officials and Board of Regents who approved the transit center have lost touch with the students.
You drive around for 45 minutes and try to find a parking spot. I come to school an hour to 2 hours early just to find parking.
I'd tell them it was a bad idea. I mean, ultimately it's up to them, but it's from a student standpoint, it's not enjoyable.
Executive Director of Planning and Construction David Fromer said the end goal for the UNLV Transit Center is this.
Major improvement we're working with on RTC to see if it's feasible and can be supported in the future is potentially a transit-only cross-campus route.
Now UNLV and RTC officials hope that over the next 5 years that 25% of the students can trade in their vehicles for bus rides. That would prove that the UNLV master plan was a success. But they know that students aren't ready to trade in their car seats for bus seats.
Parking is going to be a concern, and we expect increasingly people are going to be interested in taking transit.
For Bamani, he said transit may not be the fastest or most comfortable, but it is the future.
Daughter came to campus a few summers ago and she used the bus. Was it convenient and quick? No. And did she have to take a couple different buses? Yes. I think future phases of this project will really benefit our students, faculty, and staff.
Reporting for Studio G, I am Carl Winder.
UNLV officials say the transit center is set to be completed by fall of 2013. The Runnin' Rebel basketball season is winding down, and baseball has just started, but it's not too early to start talking about UNLV football. The football team held its first spring practice yesterday at Rebel Park, and the optimism is as high as ever as they look to improve. After the last few years of disappointing seasons, head coach Bobby Hawk believes his team is closer to success more than ever.
Well, I think we've got a pretty good football team. I'm excited about it. Obviously, all teams this time of year have to get the work done so they can improve and be competitive in the fall. But for our first time here, I think we have a more veteran team and a team that looks good in their uniform, and we'll have a chance to win some games next fall.
While the football team has not produced success in wins and losses, every year they are improving with talent and more experience, which Hawk hopes will improve the victory column.
Getting better, and we want to win some games. Obviously, one of the big things is if we won the games last year where we were ahead in the fourth quarter, we'd have had 6 wins. So we need to achieve that and just improve as a football team.
The football team practices 3 times a week except during spring break, and all practices are open to the public. Spring practice then culminates on Friday, April 12th with the 3rd annual Spring Showcase, which includes activities for kids and a chance to have a picture and autograph from the players. Information can be found on UNLVRebels.com. While police presence has always provided a feeling of security, one up-and-coming sport is struggling for its freedom from police scrutiny. Reporter Bree Bradley has more on the story.
I just think that there's a lot of people involved in creating laws and rules that don't understand people like me.
Las Vegas native Chris Higdon has been competing in street bike stunt competitions for 4 years. Chris is currently the 13th best stunt bike rider in the nation. Now a rider for multiple big-name sponsors in the pro class, Chris is in search to add yet another championship to his name. There's only one thing that stands in his way, however, a location to practice without being stopped by the police.
I've been stopped countless times, probably 4 or 5 times a week at some points.
Stunt bike competitors are finding it more difficult to find areas in which they can practice. Empty and abandoned parking lots, such as this one, are becoming occupied once again around the valley, and brick walls are keeping riders like Chris on the outside.
Most of the time, the police are called because someone is complaining about noise, or they're complaining that they're scared to drive past us. We're gonna come flying off the parking lot and crash into the street and kill people or something.
Lieutenant Jeff Green of the UNLV Police Department says it's not so much the sound ordinance or onlookers' fear as it is the safety for the riders.
The first priority, laws and ordinances that they're breaking, but I'm also fairly sure that the officers will be concerned about the bike riders' safety.
Whether this is a concern of moving violations and safety or just a preconceived judgment of the up-and-coming sport, both parties agree that this way of riding a street bike isn't going anywhere, and hopefully can come to an agreement between both athlete and authority.
It is not a trend. I think it's going to be around for a while.
Eventually one day the sport may grow enough to have a location where, you come, sign a waiver, pay $10 and ride all day, be legitimately not illegal.
For Studio G, I'm Bree Bradley.
According to Chris Higdon, rumors of a new stunting facility being built in Las Vegas are currently being discussed. On Friday, the Board of Regents meeting included some updates on the UNLV Now project. The Board of Regents discussed the upcoming UNLV Now project that will bring changes to the university. Not only would the stadium benefit the university in revenue, but the local hotel and resort industry as well. With the current 20,000-seat arena project made by MGM in the works, also, the UNLV 60,000-seat event center and stadium would be considered as complementary to MGM's project, rather than their competition.
Well, the first thing is to make sure that we understand exactly what the project needs to be, and that's really what we're doing with the stakeholders right now, is to have good active dialogue to make sure that the project not only meets the needs of the university, but really truly meets the needs of the industry, because this is as much for the resort industry as it is for the university, and that's really one of the powerful parts of the project, is that it serves two very different but complementary needs.
The UNLV Now project is taking a lot of time and planning through stakeholders as well as the Board of Regents. With the successful construction of the stadium, it is expected that tourism in Southern Nevada will increase. The potential projects that can result from the new stadium on UNLV's campus and bring tourism include UFC fights, more college basketball tournaments, college football bowl games, NFL exhibition games, and more.
It takes a long time to go through a process to make sure that stakeholders are properly engaged and that you do the project right. So I'm very committed to making sure that we go through a process that allows us to know before we start to build it that we've got the right thing.
The stadium will hopefully break ground within the next few years and be completed by 2017 if all goes according to plan. Israeli Defense Force soldiers are traveling the country to educate others about what they do. Reporter Maria Landouros has more.
Former Israeli Defense Force soldiers are letting their voices be heard across college campuses in America through the Israeli Soldier Stories program. IDF soldiers believe there have been a lot of misconceptions in the media about the way they operate and what their goals are.
Many people think that it's a brutal army that kills people, and it's not true. It's a very moral army that value people's lives, and it's an army that deals with the education and help the society and the community in Israel.
UNLV students got a chance to hear 2 IDF soldiers, Adam and Kinneret, tell their story about what it was like serving in combat missions in Gaza, Lebanon, and the West Bank.
It was great. I mean, having Adam and Kenneth actually tell their personal stories of how they preserve not just the state of Israel, but also protecting the Gazan residents as well as the residents in the West Bank is just, I think it's really important and needs to be spoken.
I want students to know that, first of all, Israel is a great country, and we want them to stay with a message of peace.
The tour is sponsored by Stand With Us, an international program that educates citizens from all backgrounds about the Arab-Israeli conflict in the Middle East.
We give not only the Jewish students a place to stand up and a place that they can speak up for the truth, the real values of the Israeli army a lot of times will not match up to what you see in the media, and that's unfortunate.
To hear from more Israeli Defense Force soldiers, visit standwithus.com. HIV and AIDS have become the subject of many controversies. Being born with AIDS, Hadiya Broadbent decided to make it her life to bring awareness to this disease. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Hadiya Broadbent. I am 29 and I have AIDS. I was actually born with HIV. My birth mother was an IV drug user who infected herself and passed it on through me, and I was diagnosed at the age of 3.
It's not my fault that I have AIDS because it was my birth mom's fault because she was doing drugs and stuff.
They said I wouldn't live past the age of 5. Back then, there was no medication available for women or children, and people were dying at an alarming rate. This was my life, and since I could remember, I was going to the hospital and taking medicine. So for me growing up, I didn't know anything was different until I started school. I was in kindergarten, and a teacher sprayed me with bleach because I sneezed and mucus came out, and so she was afraid that the virus was airborne, which it wasn't.
Growing up with AIDS was not easy, and Hadiya decided to speak up about it.
Well, I started speaking at the age of 6, and when I was younger, I really didn't understand the responsibility. I was just speaking to correct what was right, speaking up for those who didn't have a voice. And I really didn't know that I wanted to do this until I was like in my early 20s.
Hadiya made numerous TV appearances starting at a very young age. She was featured on shows such as Oprah, 2020, Nick News, and Good Morning America.
When I first started doing TV shows, a lot of people, they did recognize me because I was one of the first youth. I came after Ryan White, so I was the first African-American youth to speak out. There was a lot of recognition from a conversation with Magic, because when Magic Johnson came out, it was like America was shocked.
I want people to know that we're just normal people.
Mm-hmm. Aw, you don't have to cry. You don't have to cry. Because we are normal people.
I have to use my life as a warning for others, so kids know what it's really like to have AIDS. To know that, yes, there are pills that you can take once a day, but that's not all that goes into it. There's blood work, there's doctor visits, there's fighting for medical care. If I can use my life as a warning for others not to go through it, then that's what I was put here to do. This was something I really wanted to dedicate my life to, because it was so many young people that were contracting the virus at an alarming rate. And I was like, this is preventable. Why are people contracting this? And that's when I decided to dedicate all my time and energy to it.
There is a place on the UNLV campus that offers AIDS testing. Check it out. Check out where during the break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
HIV testing is now available at the Student Health Center inside the Student Recreation and Wellness Building. Testing is free to all students that have paid their health fee and is available on a walk-in basis only. No needles are used and the results are ready the same day. For more information, contact the Student Health Center at 702-895-3370 or email them at shc@unlv.edu. You must have a Rebel card to get tested, and results are confidential.
Moving on to international news. Earlier this week, the world acknowledged the death of Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. Chavez was battling cancer for the past few years. He was last seen publicly in December. Chavez was president of Venezuela from 1998 to 2013. Towards the end of his first year in power, Venezuelans voted in favor of a referendum for a new constitution proposed by Chavez. 7 months later, he was re-elected to the presidency for a 6-year term under the new constitution. He was 58 years old. At 44 years old, Chavez was elected as the youngest president in Venezuelan history. Venezuela's government has declared 7 days of national mourning. His funeral will be held this Friday. With the recent resignation of the Pope, cardinals are working on electing a new pope. After Pope Benedict XVI announced he was leaving the papacy, becoming the first pope to resign from the position in 600 years, more than 140 Catholic cardinals met at the Vatican to discuss the process of selecting a new pope. On Monday, cardinals met twice a day to set a date for the conclave to select Pope Benedict's successor, but no decision has been reached yet.
The main concern was actually to get to know what we have to do in order to prepare ourselves for the conclave. In other words, the discussions that have to take place beforehand. Obviously, there are going to be questions about the situations in the different parts of the world, how the church is responding to those, and so forth.
Typically, the College of Cardinals is not allowed to begin selecting a new pope until 15 to 20 days after the papacy becomes vacant. However, in an attempt to get a successor in a position as quickly as possible, Pope Benedict XVI amended the 500-year-old policy. This amendment would allow a new pope to be selected as early as March 15th. UNLV student Kyle Mefford from the Catholic Newman Center gave some more insight on the candidates for pope.
I think the interesting thing about most of these candidates is most of them don't actually want to be the pope, and it's kind of a saying that, he who seeks the papacy won't find it. And it's kind of interesting because most of these men, they don't want that. It's a lot of work and whatnot. But if any one of them were chosen to be the pope by conclave, I know they would accept it.
We will continue to bring you updates on the election of the new pope as they become available. You've heard of the famous movie Snakes on a Plane, but a new dance craze has authorities questioning the safety of shakes on a plane. The Harlem Shake is the latest viral video dance giving Gangnam Style a run for its money. They usually start with one person dancing alone and then others joining in. Now the FAA is looking into this video. It depicts the dance on a Frontier Airlines flight in mid-air, organized by a group of students from Colorado College's Ultimate Frisbee team. The FAA wants to know if the plane was on final approach and if passengers should have been buckled up. A Frontier Airlines spokeswoman says all safety measures were followed and the safety seatbelt sign was off.
The case scenario is we hit a little clear air turbulence and bodies start flying all over the place.
A YouTube search turns up plenty of other Harlem Shakers on planes. This group of cheerleaders from Toronto were headed to a competition and say that it didn't shake during a layover. However, former airline pilot Jim Tillman says an airline is not a place for fun and games.
Is it fun? Maybe. Is it cute? Maybe. Is it good judgment? No.
In the Colorado case, Tillman says he hopes the FAA gives Frontier Airlines a strong warning, but that the crew should have never let the dance go on. If you are thinking about adding a new member to your family, all you have to do is take a trip down to your local PetSmart. Have a look.
Around the Las Vegas community, many local animal shelters are trying to find owners for loving and caring cats and dogs. Homeward Bound is just one example of many here in the Valley that has partnered with retail giant PetSmart to help create forever families. President of Homeward Bound, Carol Fox, explains.
Homeward Bound is a nonprofit, a charity, tax exempt. We do cat adoptions, that's our focus. We're a no-kill group. We've been in business since since July 2007. Since that time, we've adopted out over 300 or about 3,000, cats into permanent homes. We've been adopting recently about 40 to 50 cats a month. All of our cats are spayed and neutered. They're all tested for feline leukemia and feline AIDS. They're all current on their vaccinations. And we give people who adopt from us a coupon to have the kitty examined again by our wonderful veterinarian, which is Flamingo Pet Clinic on East Flamingo. If there's anything that the kitty needs at that free visit, we pay for it. We want to make sure that the kitty gets a healthy start.
Seems like we ran out of time. That's all the recaps we have from this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Jamie Seymour. Be sure to tune in next Friday as Carl Winder will bring you the Week in Review right here on Studio G Magazine. Have a great day.